So, you saw Riot's new cinematic for TFT, and now you're thinking about giving it a try? Well, here's everything you need to know to skip the early confusion and start having fun on the Convergence. To do that, we have to start by answering a very important question. One of the charms of this game, at least it was for me, is that you very likely haven't played a game like TFT before. In TFT, you control your tactician through an 8-player free-for-all. Your goal? Build the best strategy possible over the course of multiple rounds. Each round, you will be given the chance to spend gold to recruit new units to your board. In each round, your board will fight another tactician's board. The defeated tactician takes damage, bringing them closer to being knocked out of the game. The victor gets to save their HP, and gets an extra gold for their trouble. Eventually, there will only be one tactician left standing. That's who you want to be. Or, at least top 4. No matter what kind of strategy you decide to build, it's always going to revolve around. These guys are the core of TFT. Every aspect of the game revolves around obtaining and empowering these guys. So let's learn a bit about them. Firstly, units come in 5 different tiers that correspond with how much they cost to recruit. Tier 5 units are the strongest, but also the most expensive. You can right-click on any unit to bring up a detailed pane of their stats. Every unit has a basic attack, the range of which is displayed here. Every unit also has a unique ability that they will use once their mana bar is filled. By default, units gain mana by dealing and taking damage. Below you will see a bunch of icons that represent different stats. I'll quickly go over what these icons mean and what they do. Axe represents attack damage. It increases the damage of basic attacks and some abilities scale with it. Magic represents ability power and increases the damage of certain abilities and effects. Shield represents armor and gives damage reduction from physical damage. Sphere represents magic resistance and provides protection from magical damage. Square represents durability, which gives damage reduction regardless of the damage type. Bow represents attack speed and is presented in how many basic attacks per second that unit will perform. The first red strike icon represents the chance for an attack to be a critical strike, and the second represents the bonus damage that attack will receive for being a critical strike. Abilities by default not critically strike. More stats means a stronger board, so let's look into how we can pump those numbers up. A core principle of TFT is that even the strongest unit needs their team to back them up. Every unit has their own set of units that they will synergize well with. You can see what those units are by checking a unit's traits at the top of the pane. Units come with at least 2, but sometimes 3 traits. When you field a unit, you can see the thresholds for the amount of different units required to get the next tier of synergy bonus. Some of them have really cool and unique effects to play around with. It's highly recommended that you make a team that synergizes well with each other. A way that you can directly boost the power of your units is by assembling multiple copies of them. 3 copies of the same unit will combine and create a single unit that's 1 star level higher. To go even further than that, if you assemble 3 2 stars of the same unit, they will all combine into a star level 3 unit. That's a total of 9 copies. A 3-star unit is extremely powerful, and one that's a high tier can end the game on the spot. But it is a huge gold investment. In most games, it just won't be possible due to the fact there are a limited amount of copies of each unit in the pool that is shared by all 8 players. Lastly, all units can be equipped with up to 3 items that grant them additional stats and sometimes even bonus effects. The item system in TFT deserves its own section, so let's dive in. Your units won't want just any item. They'll want something that complements their class. You can see what class your unit belongs to by looking here. If you mouse over the icon, you'll see a full list of items that your unit will enjoy. It's a great place to start for beginners. You will notice that under every item is a recipe. That is because most of the time, instead of receiving full items, you will get these things called components. To make an item, simply drag 2 components on top of each other. Or, right-click the component in your inventory to bring up a menu of what you can craft. Once you craft an item, it is impossible, at least under normal circumstances, to break it back down into its components, so choose carefully. The same can be said when you're deciding who to give these items to, as they cannot be removed unless you sell that unit, or use an item called the magnetic remover, which is only given in scarce quantities. You now have the knowledge you need to make your units as strong as possible, but unfortunately, you're never going to be able to find them if you don't know how to use... A strong board isn't just going to come to you. You're going to need to use your abilities as a tactician to gather your forces. To start things off, you'll notice that your tactician has a level. This is very important because your level determines not only how many units you can play on your board, but also what kinds of units can appear in your shop. You can see the odds in the color-coded percentages above your shop. If you look at your starting odds, you'll see that it is literally impossible to find the higher tier units. Luckily though, you receive 2 XP after every round, and you can purchase more in increments of 4, costing 4 gold. You can also pay 2 gold to roll a fresh shop to see new units. You can perform both of these actions an infinite number of times per round, provided you have the gold for it. And there you are. That is everything you need to know to jump in and start having fun with the standard game of TFT. But you should know that there's no such thing as a standard game of TFT, really. Every match is an encounter that changes the game for everyone in the match, as well as a bunch of unique augments that can drastically change how you play, and in some cases, unlock new ways to play. So go out there and enjoy, experience what the game has to offer, and if you find that you want to know more, stick around for more videos if they aren't already on the screen.